All right, testing. One, two. Is the audio levels looking good on your end, Luna? I think I've finally mastered the lighting in this studio. Welcome back to the lab, everyone. I am Leo, your tech-loving host, and wow, do we have a real brain melter for you today. I haven't slept much because I was thinking about this topic all night.
You always get so obsessed with the tech topics, Leo, but I don't blame you this time. Hi, everyone. I'm Luna. Today, we are stepping away from basic English, the stuff you learn in a textbook, and we are moving into the deep end. We are talking about moral complexity and AI. Just saying those words feels heavy, doesn't it? It feels important.
It really does. Listeners, pay attention to that word right at the start, complexity. C-O-M-P-L-E-X-I-T-Y. It comes from the adjective complex. Most students just say hard or difficult, but complex is better. It means a problem with 1,000 tiny strings all tangled together. One string affects the other. And speaking of tangles, Luna, did you hear what happened when I asked my AI the trolley problem this morning?
Oh no, not the trolley problem. For our new listeners, the trolley problem is a famous ethical test used in philosophy. It's a hypothetical situation. Imagine a train is coming and you have to choose who to save, the 5 people on one track or the 1 person on the other. It's a nightmare. So, Leo, what did the robot say? Did it have a heart?
That's the thing, Luna. It didn't. It was actually chilling. The AI didn't hesitate. It didn't feel bad. It didn't pause to think about the families. It just said, based on statistical probability and future economic output, the younger human has more value. It treated a human life like a math equation. It made me feel completely unsettled.
Unsettled. That is the perfect word for our listeners to learn today. It means your stomach feels a bit weird because something just isn't right. It's not scared, it's unsettled. Today, we're going to explore why AI thinks like that, and more importantly, the language you need to participate in this debate. We have 3 massive case studies coming up that will change how you look at your phone, your job, and even your doctor.
Exactly. We are going to talk about the resume robot, the voice thieves, and the algorithm surgeon. It's going to be a long episode, so grab your coffee, get your notebook ready, and let's dive into part 1.
All right, let's get into our first real-world scenario. I call this one the resume robot. Imagine this, listeners. You've spent 3 days perfecting your CV. You've checked every comma, you've used high-level vocabulary, and you hit send. And then, nothing. Just a giant black hole.
I think everyone listening is nodding their head right now, Leo. We've all been there. It's so frustrating. You feel like your hard work just vanished into thin air. But what's actually happening behind the scenes?
Well, in 2026, most big companies, I'm talking about firms like Global Corp, receive over 50,000 resumes a month. No human team can read that, so they use an AI. But here is the glitch. They told the AI, look at our current top managers and find more people like them. But because their past managers were mostly men who played lacrosse or golf in the 90s, the AI started rejecting any resume that didn't mention those sports.
It's heartbreaking. These candidates were qualified, but the AI saw the word women's soccer or volleyball and thought, that doesn't fit the pattern, delete. That is a classic case of algorithmic bias.
Exactly. Let's pause there for a word tour. Bias. B-I-A-S. It means an unfair preference for one thing over another. But Luna, let's play a game for our listeners. What are some other words for bias that they can use in a business meeting?
Let's see. If you want to sound more formal, you could say partiality. P-A-R-T-I-A-L-I-T-Y. It means you are partial to one side. Or if you want to sound more legal, you could say prejudice.
Oh, I have a good one, an idiom, a tilted playing field. If the AI is biased, the playing field isn't level. Some people are running uphill while others have it easy. This AI was perpetuating an old, unfair system.
Perpetuate, Perpetuate. That is a C1 level word, guys. It means to make a bad situation continue for a long time. The AI wasn't creating new sexism, it was just perpetuating the sexism of the past. It's like a digital ghost.
So, listeners, here's the question. If a robot rejects you, who do you blame? The programmer or the company? It's a mess. But speaking of what would you do, Luna, I think it's time for a little grammar lab to help our friends express these difficult ideas.
Wait a second, Leo. Before we move on to the grammar, I have a question. Why can't the humans just, look inside the AI and fix it? If they see it's rejecting women, can't they just flip a switch?
That is a great question, Luna. And it brings us to a very scary term, the black box. In AI, a black box is a system where we can see the input, the resumes, and we can see the output, the people hired, but we don't actually know how the AI made the decision.
Wait, what? You mean the programmers don't know why the robot chose candidate A over candidate B?
Exactly. These modern AIs, especially neural networks, learn patterns that are so complex that even a human engineer can't explain them. It's opaque. O-P-A-Q-U-E. That means you can't see through it. It's the opposite of transparent.
That makes me feel even more unsettled. If we don't know why the machine is making decisions, how can we ever say it's being fair? It's like having a judge in a courtroom who refuses to explain the law.
Precisely. And for our listeners, that word transparent is key. In business English, we talk about transparency. We want companies to be transparent about how they use our data. But with AI, total transparency is almost impossible.
Okay, so let's give our listeners some practical advice. If a resume robot is reading their CV, how can they beat the system? How do they make sure they aren't rejected by a glitch?
Great idea. First, you need to use key words. If the job description asks for project management, don't just say you ran a team. Use the exact words. The robot is looking for a match. Also, keep your formatting simple. If you use fancy graphics or weird fonts, the AI might get stumped.
Stumped, we used that word before. It means the AI gets confused and stops working. So keep it clean, keep it professional, and use the right vocabulary. But Leo, isn't it sad that we have to change our personalities just to please a machine?
It is, Luna. It really is. We are losing the human touch. And that leads us to a big what-if question. What if you were the boss? What if you had to choose between a fast robot and a slow human? Listeners, think about that while we move into our grammar lab. All right, everyone, it is time to sharpen our tools. Welcome to the Grammar Lab. Now, don't turn off the video. I promise this isn't like your boring high school English class. To talk about ethics, you need a specific type of grammar.
He's right. When we talk about AI ethics, we are usually talking about hypothetical situations, things that could happen or things we imagine might happen. And for that, we use the second conditional.
Exactly. For example, if I were a robot, I would not have feelings. Luna, notice I said if I were, not if I was. Why do we do that?
That is the subjunctive mood. I know, it sounds like a scary word, but it just means we are talking about something that is not true. I am not a robot, so I use were. Listeners, repeat after me. If I were, I would.
So, let's apply this to our case studies. Luna, if you owned a company, would you use a resume robot to save time even if it had a little bit of bias?
That is a tough one. If I owned a company, I would probably use the AI to sort the resumes, but I would always make sure a human looked at the final list. I wouldn't let the machine have the last word. What about you, Leo?
If I were the CEO, I would hire a team of ethical hackers to test the AI every single month. If they found a glitch, I would shut the system down immediately. See, guys? Found, past tense, would shut down, result.
Perfect. Now, listeners, pay attention to the negative. I wouldn't trust an AI. Or, if the AI didn't have human oversight, it would make mistakes. This structure is your best friend when you are in a debate or a business meeting about the future.
And it makes you sound so much more professional. Instead of saying, maybe AI is bad, you can say, if AI lacked regulation, it could become dangerous. It sounds sophisticated, right?
Definitely. It shows you can handle nuance. Nuance. Nuance is when you see the small, subtle differences in a situation. It's not just good or bad, it's complex.
Okay, Grammar Lab is closed for today. You've got the structure. If plus past, would plus verb. Now let's use that structure to talk about our next and perhaps most frightening case study, the voice thieves.
All right, everyone, take a deep breath. This next topic, well, it makes my blood boil. Grrr. We are moving away from the office and into the world of cybercrime. Specifically, we're talking about voice cloning and the grandma deepfake. Luna, have you ever received one of those scam phone calls?
Oh, all the time, Leo. Usually it's just a recording saying my Amazon package is lost. I just hang up. But this, what's happening in 2026 is much more sinister. It's not just a recording anymore, is it?
No, it's personal. Here is the scenario. Scammers take a 10-second clip of your voice from a video you posted on social media, maybe a video of you at a birthday party or a graduation. They feed that into an AI, and suddenly they can make you say anything.
Wait, so they don't even need to talk to me? They just steal my voice print?
Exactly. They call a family member, usually an elderly person like a grandmother, and they play the voice. The AI voice sounds panicked. It says, "Grandma, I'm at the police station. I've been in a car accident and I need $2,000 for bail immediately. Please, don't tell Mom. She'll be so upset." And because the voice is indistinguishable from the real grandson, the grandmother sends the money.
That is it's pure deception. Listeners, let's look at that word, indistinguishable. Indistinguishable. It's a massive word. It means you cannot tell the difference between two things, not even with your naked ear.
And that's the ethical problem. Companies like Meta and OpenAI have these tools. They say it's for creativity, but in the hands of a criminal, it's a weapon. We are in a tug-of-war between innovation and safety.
Tug of war. That's a great idiom. Two sides pulling a rope in opposite directions. On one side, we want the cool tech. On the other side, we want to protect our grandmothers from being scammed. How do we find a balance, Leo?
Some people suggest a digital watermark, like a hidden code in the audio that tells your phone, this is a robot. But until then, we have to be vigilant. VIGILANT. It means to be very watchful and alert for danger.
Here is a tip for our listeners. If you get a call like that, ask a security question, something only the real person would know. Like, what did we eat for dinner last Christmas? A robot won't know that.
That's a great human hack, Luna. But it's sad that we have to live in a world where we can't even trust the sound of our own children's voices. It's a major trust crisis.
All right, we are entering the final arena. This is the big one. We've talked about jobs and we've talked about scams, but now let's talk about life and death. Let's talk about the doctor bot.
This one always makes me a bit nervous, Leo. I mean, I love my fitness tracker, but trusting a machine with a surgery? That feels like a whole different level of risk.
It is. But consider this, in many rural areas, remember, rural means the countryside, hospitals are severely understaffed. They don't have enough specialist doctors, so they started using an AI called MedLogic. One night, a patient comes in with a rare heart condition. The human doctors on duty are, well, they are completely stumped.
Stumped. Remember that word, guys? STUMPED. It means the doctors had no answer. They were stuck. So did they turn to the machine?
They did. The AI analyzed the patient's data in seconds and suggested a highly experimental procedure. The doctors followed the AI's advice and the patient lived. A total success story, right?
That sounds like a miracle. If the patient is alive, then the AI is a hero. Why is there a debate, Leo? I'd be sending that robot a thank you card.
Well, here is the crux of the matter. The hospital's lawyers were terrified. They asked, wait, if that AI had made a mistake and the patient had died, who would have been liable?
Liable. Liable. We've seen this word throughout the episode, but here it is most critical. It means legally responsible. If a human doctor makes a mistake, they can be sued. They can lose their license. But you can't put a piece of software in prison.
Exactly. This is what we call the accountability gap. If the AI is the one making the decision, but the human is the one holding the scalpel, who is to blame? Is it the programmer who wrote the code 3 years ago, or the doctor who followed the machine's advice?
It's such a gray area. A gray area is a situation where the rules aren't clear. If we rely too much on the doctor bot, do humans lose their skills? Do we become just buttons pushers for the machine?
That's the fear. We want the efficiency of the robot, but we need the morality of the human. We need to ensure there is always a human in the loop. That means a human must always have the final yes or no power.
So, listeners, here is a question for your vocabulary notebook. Liability. If you were a lawyer, how would you solve this? Is the machine a tool or a teammate?
Phew! Luna, we did it. We've crossed the finish line. My brain feels like I've just run a marathon through a library. How are you holding up?
Honestly, Leo, I'm exhausted, but in a good way. It's that feeling you get when you've learned something truly important. But before we sign off, we have to address our listeners. We asked for questions on our social media earlier, and the lab is buzzing.
Yes, let's do a quick lightning round. We have a question from Marco in Italy. He asks, if AI becomes smarter than humans, will we eventually stop learning languages altogether? That's a deep one, Marco.
I don't think so, Marco. Even if a machine can translate perfectly, it can't replace connection. Language isn't just data, it's a heartbeat. If you and I only spoke through robots, Leo, we wouldn't have this spark.
Exactly. You can't program spark. Okay, next one from Yuki in Japan. She asks, what is the most important word from today's episode for a job interview?
Oh, that's easy, Yuki. Use the word nuance. Nuance. If you can show your boss that you understand the nuances of AI, the good and the bad, you will sound like a leader, not just an employee.
Great choice. And for me, it's liability. Every company is worried about who is responsible. If you can talk about liability, you are talking the language of the boardroom.
All right, listeners, it's time for your final challenge. We've reached the end of our 3,000-word journey. In the comments below, I want you to write a second conditional sentence about today's topics.
Yes, use this prompt. If I were the CEO of an AI company, I would, and try to use one of our power words, transparent, biased, or indistinguishable. We'll be reading every single one.
It's been a long ride, but so worth it. Remember, guys, English is a tool. AI is a tool, but you are the ones who decide how to use them for good. Don't be afraid of the complexity. Embrace it.
Well said, Luna. If you found this 40-minute deep dive helpful, please hit that subscribe button. It helps us keep the lights on here in the lab. And grab the PDF vocab cheat sheet in the description to review all 25 power words we covered today.
Stay curious, stay kind, and keep practicing. From all of us here at the Leo and Luna English Lab, goodbye for now.
Peace. See you in the next one.